the world's only book which registers records of all kinds, the Guinness Book of Records. Do you think a flight over the Bering Straits in a motor-powered hang glider in the bitter cold of the polar region is worth an entry into the book? Judge for yourselves. On March the 10th, 1992, a chartered military plane AN-20 took off from Vladivostok. Flying over Madagan and Adair, it carried expedition members to Lavrentia, including pilots Jiří Zítka from the Czech town of Lysá nad Labem, the expedition's main organizer Yevgeny Ananin from Vladivostok, the ever-smiling Ukrainian Sergey Zozulya, and another Russian pilot, Vladimir Malishev. Starting from Lavrentia, the pilots will have to rely only on their own machines. All their gear and equipment will be transported by a helicopter. The expedition set itself the task of crossing the 120 kilometers wide Bering Straits. It all started with a bright idea somewhere in the Kamchatka Peninsula 2 years ago when Czech pilot Jirka Zítka was on a visit there. Over a glass of vodka, he told Russian hang gliding enthusiasts that no one before had ever crossed the Bering Straits on a hang glider. How about giving it a try? A hazy idea gradually crystallized. An international team of pilots was shaping up: Russians, Ukrainians, Czechs and Americans. But due to unknown reasons, the Americans pulled out of the project at the very last minute. Naturally, such an expedition takes more than just pilots. A large support team is needed too.
Welcome to Chukotka.
Welcome to Chukotka. Those were the first words we saw on the airport building. It's 12 hours, March the 26th, and we reached our destination, unpacking our machines in a well-heated garage. The weather has been quite good, sunny. Wind is just right, only northerly, but we are not going to fly today. If the weather keeps, we may be flying tomorrow, setting out for ULN. We've lost a lot of strength, but we are ready to continue. I believe in my own pals, relying on their strength, their help, and your too. I hope we'll fly across. Finally, the shapes of tricycles emerged among all the crates and baggage. Unfortunately, the final touches have to be put to the hang gliders outside the heated workshop. Preparations had to be very thorough. All the necessary permits had to be obtained because Russia's Chukotka is still a strictly guarded military zone. American entry visas and many other documents had to be arranged too. The equipment was another problem. Nobody had any experiences with the Arctic region. Even the Russians had not flown there before. Final engine testing has to be made before the first flights in the biting frosts. What was the first flight like? That was our second flight. Excellent weather. We flew at an altitude of some 750 meters. At what speed? Not very fast, 60 to 70 kilometers an hour. Did you see the sea? Yes, it's frozen near the coast. Are you afraid of the Bering Straits? No, definitely not. Each expedition of this kind is immensely costly, and that is why sponsors have to have their field day. In the local gym, each crew attaches sponsors' stickers on the wings of their hang gliders. The countdown to takeoff has already started. Before the first stage, the hang gliding pilots dropped into a local bar frequented by helicopter pilots who ship all the supplies to this part of the world and who usually come in for a few glasses every evening. Sort of local bus drivers. When they found out what's cooking, they were shocked. "Are you crazy?" they asked. "We've been flying there regularly. We know the kind of conditions out there. The turbulences are so extreme that a helicopter is easily overturned. You cannot survive that, believe us." Maybe we'll be lucky, the hang gliding pilots would comfort themselves, but they knew very well that the local guys have been flying there for 10 or 15 years. Maybe they are right. Maybe we have all really gone crazy. The pilots are now just waiting for good weather that will give them the green light. Until then, it's important to while away the time somehow. The final adjustments on the machines, carried out under the watchful glances of local children, are hardly enough to keep them busy the whole day anyway. That is why the crews decided to take the local Chukcha inhabitants and their children on sightseeing flights. The Chukchas immediately formed a very long queue, even shouting at our cameraman as he was approaching a hang glider not to jump the queue. Their enthusiasm for flying knew no boundaries. Even though they never saw a hang glider before, they courageously entered the winged tricycles to get a bird's-eye view of their town. It's March the 29th and we are at the threshold of the first stage. It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon and without a lunch we set out for Yulin. The people from the town where we stayed for 3 days gave their goodbyes with sad faces. After all, we took all kids, mothers and girls on sightseeing flights. But everything has an end and the good weather seems to be ending too. Our departure for Yulin comes